What's up, guys? We're gonna do this video a little bit differently because I've had so many thoughts running through my head, just racing through my head. So I'm actually back at base, but I had so many thoughts on this road trip on my way back, and I'm like, wait a minute, didn't I take a medication named Myrbetriq? Like, I want to talk about Myrbetriq just a little bit, but still recap on my way back home. But those who have tried the medication Myrbetriq, how did that go for you? The one medication that I do talk a lot about is Gemtesa. Yes, I'm probably jacking up the name, but Myrbetriq, I want to kind of focus more so on that one. And I'm curious to know, has it worked for anyone? I have something to say about that medications, but like I said, I want to recap on this trip a little bit and mix it up with talking about Myrbetriq just a little bit. But those who have tried it, what was your take on it? Let me know. What's up? Okay, now somebody just got out of this car to go over to this car, got his hand all stuck in the window trying to see what this man is saying. Like, who reaches in somebody's car to shake somebody's hand? I don't know what's going on.
Okay, you can go in. I gotta move around a bit.
Okay. I don't know. It's probably a weird gas station of some sort. Okay, so this is me entering into the restroom, checking it out. Okay, there's no toilet paper where I can pull it down the row. I just have to pick it up manually and just keep rolling until I have enough toilet paper in my hand to do what I need to do. Enough water in the toilet. Okay, the water works. I'm finding out. Okay, this sink is quite okay. I do plan on using it, of course. Then I'm gonna make my exit. The road again. Yikes. First time. They got a fan in here. They got a fan in here. They got a fan in here. I gotta use the bathroom. All right, boo, so let's get some feedback. How was it traveling with me, a person who has overactive bladder? How do you think I did?
I think you did great. You had your times where you had to get in there, but basically, I think you did pretty good. Better than I expected.
I think so too. I think the change of the medication that I'm using has been very helpful. I did mention along the way that I was experiencing some retention, but that got worked out. I did mention some abdominal cramping that was going on, but do you feel like he was being considerate to a person who has overactive bladder? Because you was going to the bathroom before me at certain times.
I thought it was in the day. I thought when we decided to do that, I would go first, and then you would go. But I still haven't figured out why we was doing it anyway. Why we didn't both go at the same time.
Mm-hmm. See, I guess I was thinking. I don't know if I was thinking the old school way or the new school way. I don't know if I was just even thinking, because I thought people would say, "Okay, I'll watch the car while you go in," and when you.
Ain't nobody gonna break into a car in a gas station. We got all these people standing around.
That's a good point. So maybe my mind was back in the day.
And if they did, they'd be all up on there on camera. Mm-hmm. There's just too many people.
Okay. So I want to take this. Oh, what was the restrooms looking like when you went in there? But like the stalls, you see, I guess men's stalls, don't it be for the most part? Y'all's be out in the open and what? Unless y'all got to do a number 2, then y'all have like a private stall.
We have open stalls and we have private stalls.
Okay, so like when it's a private stall, do you feel like it's enough privacy when the door, like that little gap in between there? Because I always have to check out the gap. If the gap is too wide, I'm trying to use the bathroom.
A lot of them don't have gaps anymore. I mean, it's not like that where you can sit there and look at them. That one time that happened to me, that was when they had it was poorly constructed, and it did have a wide gap. Somebody could walk by there and look in there. But mostly, since I've been going down, I haven't really seen that.
For the public restrooms, you haven't really seen that.
Right.
Okay. Because
Right.
I always record, like, if it is a gap, and then it makes me move even faster because I don't want to run the risk of feeling like somebody's looking at me, because that's an invasion of privacy, in my opinion. And it is, wouldn't you think?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, y'all, I do want to touch on Myrbetriq as well. So I'm gonna pick that up next. It's so interesting when you're in the car for a long period of time, so to speak. You have all types of thoughts, but naturally, yes, I was thinking on my bladder throughout this road trip. And it brought me back to one of what's considered a newer class medication, Myrbetriq. I remember being so excited when that medication was being announced to hit the market, and some of the side effects from some of the first generation of medications to address urgency, frequency of the bladder, that some of those side effects was said to have been lessened or eliminated, or less people in the study would not experience, let's say, the dry mouth, dry eyes. When I say dry mouth, just when swallowing, having a scratchy throat, or having cold-like symptoms, feeling run down, like, wow, am I getting sick with something? Because I want to say before Myrbetriq, I think Vesicare was being talked about a lot, but you needed a prior authorization for that. You needed a prior authorization getting Myrbetriq. But the price, oh my gosh, whenever a new medication is hitting the market, you run the risk of falling into the category of how much will this medication cost. But if you go to a doctor that does have samples on hand, that helps out a great deal before, let's say, biting the bullet to say, okay, insurance is going to pay X amount of dollars, but that leaves me to still have to pay, let's say, $200, which for some people, that's still high. I'm one of the persons that fall in the category where I would say that's still a high price to find out whether or not if it will work or not. But the doctor that I was going to always kept samples on hand. Another urologist that I was seeing, it wasn't set up like that at that particular doctor's office. You know, some of this stuff just almost becomes political as well, as to why drug reps are not allowed to go to certain doctors' offices. But Myrbetriq itself, trying it, did it work? No. The doctor had encouraged me to try it for at least a month or two to see if my urgency frequency was lessened. Myrbetriq is used to relax the bladder muscle, relax those nerves to not fire off, to say, empty me, empty me. Therefore, the capacity of the bladder is being expanded for you to hold a little bit more volume. Unfortunately, it never worked. I'm the type, just because something doesn't work the first time, the second time, maybe a year or two might go by, or 3, and I'm like, let's do a repeat. Because I've heard some doctors say, if something doesn't work the first time, we can always, go back and repeat something. So that was one of the medications that I did go back to repeat. But the thing about Myrbetriq, from my own personal experience, and I always say, don't base this off of just my experience. A lot of times dealing with overactive bladder, OAB, or interstitial cystitis, it is really trial and error. What might work for you may not work for me. What might work for me may not work for you. We're just different in what we may or may not respond to. So that's why I'm also protective, when the ones are saying, you're not supposed to do this when it comes to OAB or IC, you're not supposed to do this. But that's not always the case. Some people can eat this. Some people cannot eat that. So, it's just different triggers. And that's why I think it's important that we do talk about things as a community. But I noticed that I started going to the bathroom even more so. And I thought, wow, I'm not experiencing retention, but I'm having an increased amount of urgency frequency. Some people talk about retention when you can't immediately start a stream to void. Never experienced that. I only experienced increased urgency frequency. So I didn't want to keep playing around with that. Don't want to use the word necessarily playing around, but if I'm trying to avoid that, in my case, it was time for me to let it go. I'm curious to know, has Myrbetriq worked for anyone? It's always good to hear, these positive stories when certain medications have worked. A lot of times I have used GoodRx in the past. Sometimes it's cheaper than medication, but again, you have to do your research. And if you have a doctor that has samples available, that's always a good thing. A lot of times it's always even good to go to the manufacturer's website. Each medication has to be distributed by a manufacturer. So go to the manufacturer's website, even put the name of the medication. Because if a medication has been out for 10 years at least, there's a good chance that there may be a generic. But some brand medications never do put out a generic for whatever reason. Another thought to keep in mind is that there are programs that do exist that may be income based. But again, doctors aren't always thinking in the moment to tell you this. Their nurses or assistants aren't always thinking to tell you this. But there are programs that even exist. A lot of times you'll find those programs actually on the website of the manufacturer of the medication you are inquiring about. And just sometimes there's just programs even outside of the manufacturer's programs to at least see if something will work. Because I'm telling you, as you very well know, if we find something that works, that is a win-win. Like, that makes me rejoice for you. If I find something that works for me, I'm hoping that you're rejoicing with me. But the thing is, we have to share, on what is working. But for some strange reason, I just had a thought about Myrbetriq and just wanted to touch on it just a little bit. Because right now, like I said, I know I'm going to mess up the pronunciation. But the Gemtesa, of course, I've had multiple samples of that. But before that one was brought to the market, Myrbetriq was talked about. So any experiences with that? If it did work, great. And to what capacity? Did you have any side effects such as the dry mouth? Oh, the thought of dry mouth. Oh my goodness. That was just not good experiencing that with Vesicare. I've also experienced that with oxybutynin. But again, this is about Myrbetriq. But just wanted to touch base on that subject and mix it in a little bit. Because like I said, sometimes you have all types of thoughts and reflecting when you are going on a road trip. So signing off for now.